Hello out there, Caniac Nation. Thanks for joining us for our first Caniac Sessions live for session 45. I'm Griff.
And I'm AB.
And we wanted to do this live stream kind of like, to close out the season now that the playoffs are over. And, over for us anyway, unfortunately. So, to close that out, kind of have kind of some closure here for us and everybody. But here we are. We're going to go through it. We got some guests coming in, and then, just some general discussion around the offseason, free agency, the trade market. We're going to talk about the GM search and Don Waddell leaving, just all kinds of stuff packed in here over the next hour and a half, however long this goes. But AB, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm ready. I'm excited.
Yeah. Did you get your dinner? Did you?
Yes, I was on the time crunch because I didn't want to be eating while we were doing the live stream. So
That's mighty nice of you, AB.
Yep, got it all done.
Good. All right. Well, I haven't eaten yet, so I ate like a late lunch. So I'm not. But by the time we're done with this, I should be good and ready to eat. I got some pizza getting delivered here in a little bit, so it's going to be nice and ready for me when that happens. So something to look forward to, AB.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, Friday, let's get going here. But before we do, first things first, we are brought to you by DraftKings as a member of THPN. That's the Hockey Podcast Network. If you're not familiar with the Hockey Podcast Network, you should be. It's a large network. It consists of multiple shows for each team throughout the NHL. There's shows that just cover broad hockey topics. We have shows. I know there's like a goaltending show that covers just goalies stuff, whatever that is. There's podcasts that cover the PWHL, right? That's the Professional Women Hockey League. So check it out. It's the hockeypodcastnetwork.com. You can get on their website and check that out. There's links to every show. It'll take you right to the landing spot for the podcast. So check that out. THPN's great. They've been great for us. I've enjoyed the ride with them since really the beginning, AB?
Yeah, probably around August. Yeah.
Yeah. So almost
pretty close to a year.
Yeah. It's been fun, man.
It has. It's been a lot of fun.
So having said all that, before we get going and talking about the off season, we want to make sure that if you haven't liked any of our socials, right? Instagram, Facebook. We don't really use the Facebook much. It kind of just mirrors Instagram for those that don't use it. But we're very active on X. So if you haven't liked us or followed us or whatever the word is for X, do that. Get to our YouTube page, subscribe. That way you would have gotten notified when we went live here because we plan on doing this a little bit more. So go subscribe. Share this with your friends or your fellow Cane fans or whatever. We're trying to grow this. We started from, nothing. And now here we are on a live stream, maybe. So proud of you, buddy.
Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
Also get on, drop us a rating and a review, right? That helps us out, helps us grow the show. And it kind of, tells us what you like, what you don't like. So please do that. Help us out. If you like listening to us. And even if you don't like listening to us, tell us what we're doing wrong. I'm all good with that. So we also are going to announce a ticket giveaway, right? So AB and I both are season ticket members at PNC Arena for the Hurricanes. We are going to be giving away 2 tickets and parking for next season, right? So the schedule hasn't come out yet, obviously. The tickets haven't hit the accounts yet, obviously. But we will get your information, whoever the winner is. And we will keep you in mind. So that way, when the tickets hit, I will let you pick whatever game you want to go to throughout the season, regular season. I don't care which one it is. If you want to go, we'll let you pick it. So that's that. We're going to give you 2 things that you have to do tonight in order to win those tickets, the first thing is you must be following us on X at least, and you must be subscribed to our YouTube channel. That's step one. All right. Step two, I'm going to give you on the back end of the live stream. So you don't just get your instructions and then bounce out. You got to actually stick around and listen to us talk for a while.
That's right.
So first step is follow us on X and subscribe on YouTube. All right. All right. AB, you ready to get going, buddy?
Let's do it.
All right. So we know that the season, we had high expectations.
Mm-hmm.
We came up a little bit short. And when I say a little bit short, I mean a lot of bit short, because we didn't make it to the Eastern Conference final and definitely not the Stanley Cup final. And that's really where we thought this team could peak, right? So didn't quite get there. Another second round exit, call it what you want. We can blame it on, plenty of things. There's debates to be had. I think we've beat that horse to death over the last couple sessions. So we're not really going to get into why. I think we've already done that. So now all we can do is really just look forward, AB. Look forward at what this team, say again?
Only way.
That's it. So the big thing first, right, that looms over this entire offseason is the departure of Don Waddell, the resignation of Don Waddell. Winds up in Columbus in the same role, basically. And now the Canes are left with an interim general manager in Eric Tulsky. We'll see. A lot of people expect him to be the guy to lose the interim tag and become our general manager moving forward. But AB, I do want to talk about Don, though, before we move on. We really want to wish Don Waddell well. He has done great things for this organization. He's been here through, from the bad, kind of led through the change of Tom Dundon purchasing the team, and have really brought us in this organization out of the ashes, so to speak, and kind of to the top of the league. So anything you want to elaborate on about Don, AB?
No, I will say Don is one of the nicest human beings that I've ever met in hockey regards. He's so nice. He talks to everybody. If you come up to him, he's super nice. Yep, like you said, he helped us pretty much stay in Carolina, because if not, we were probably going to be relocated. Our attendance was down. Team wasn't fun. And then when he took over, everything just changed immediately. And the team started winning. Not the ultimate goal, but they started winning. They started becoming a competitive team in one of the top cup contenders. So it does suck. I think Columbus found a really good general manager, because I only have nice things to say about Donnie. So, I just wish him all the best.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some of the notable things he's done, he oversaw the transfer of ownership to Tom Dundon. He extended our lease, at the PNC Arena and the team's lease of the arena, which pretty much guarantees them to stay here for, the foreseeable future, maybe even a little bit longer than that. He gets credit for juggling two jobs, simultaneously as the general manager and the team president. Especially the team president portion is just, that's a big job in this organization through change. So he managed the roster construction, managed the cap, and he really increased the value of the franchise. I mean, the on ice product was good. Division championships, and he assisted in making Raleigh a destination place to play. In part with the owner, Rod Brindamore.
Yep.
Some of the culture and the dressing room, right? So really made this a destination, right? And like AB said, great guy. There's stories from all over Raleigh that, especially like during COVID, to how he interacted with fans and things he did for the community. And just can't, I hate that it came to an end. I really would have liked to keep him around. through this next change. But I guess, it is time for him to move on. He's really taken the organization as far as he can, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's time to, let the next wave come through and put their touches on it. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Any last thoughts on Don?
No, I just great guy. And I'm going to miss hearing we like our group.
Hey, we don't have to do anything. Hey, that don't have to go anywhere. We can,
But the way that he said it, and the memes, the countless memes, if
yeah.
he'll probably say it in Columbus, but
Well, I hated that phrase for so long. And, now it's kind of a little nostalgic already.
it is. It
But
is.
but moving on, right? So looking forward, Eric Tulsky, right? This guy has such a unique story, and it's unlike anything that you'll hear in hockey. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
as far as from the management standpoint, um, he didn't start in hockey. I mean, at all. He was, he's from Philadelphia. He graduated with a bachelor's degree from Harvard in chemistry and physics. Chemistry and physics is hard enough. I could only imagine it being even harder from Harvard back in the 90s. So then went on to graduate with a PhD in chemistry from UC Berkeley. Mind blown. Yeah. And then he went on to work in inorganic chemistry in various capacities to, quote, use nanomaterials for biological and energy applications, whatever that means.
Too many words.
Yeah, so that's what he did. While working as a chemist, he also was very interested in basically data analytics. On the hockey side, more specifically, he created a blog for hockey analytics, and it was, titled Outnumbered, on the blog platform SB Nation. I'm sure everybody out there has heard of SB Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically where he got his start in hockey, basically writing these columns and these articles about hockey analytics. Somebody took notice, and he got a couple side jobs working for different hockey teams before finally being offered and accepting a position with the Canes in 2014 as a part-time consultant. In 2015, he was moved to a full-time role as a hockey analyst, and he was responsible for basically statistical analysis by way of building, testing, and communicating the results of the data-driven analysis. So
Mm-hmm.
crazy stuff here, right? New stuff in the hockey landscape. Nobody was doing this before much, right? In 2017, Tulsky was promoted to manager of hockey analytics. He managed a small team responsible for both the data analysis and the development of a data infrastructure. This is all coming from his LinkedIn, by the way. So if you want to go check it out, go check it at his LinkedIn. It's very impressive, might I add. Then a year later, he was promoted again to vice president of hockey management and strategy. So kind of to make a long story short, he worked his way up, managing these teams that were responsible for, all these, you know, scouting, different things like that, basically driven by all this data that he's compiling and analyzing.
Mm-hmm.
Then he made his way up all the way up to assistant general manager, and he managed the pro scouting team and the team that was responsible for the player contracts and the cap management. And then last week, to the top, promoted to interim general manager of the Carolina Hurricanes, and he's currently, I mean, in my opinion and a lot of other people's opinions, the favorite to basically remove the interim tag and become the next general manager of the Canes. We'll see what happens with that, but he's been a part of the organization for just over 10 years now, and he's got his fingerprints all over every decision that's been made in the organization in the Tom Dundon era. So we'll see what happens, and you'll hear us talk about it with Adam Gold here very shortly. in a pre-recorded interview that we're going to play here in just a few minutes. So anything to add on Eric Tulsky, AB?
I'll say this. This is kind of, well, I had never seen his face until it was posted from the NHL. I was like, I kind of had to look. I was like, who is this dude? But then I saw, and yeah, I not gonna lie, I thought you like dove down deep to try and find all that stuff, but clearly you are just going on people's LinkedIn and stalking people.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, he needs to be the GM. I just don't think it would be a good thing to go out and try to find another guy when the players have been around Tulsky before, and Don has pretty much took him under his wing, and he kind of knows. It'll be interesting to see, but I'm like 99% sure that Tulsky's going to be the general manager.
He might be. We're going to dive into this a little bit later. I see some questions coming in the chat. We will get to the questions. We're going to work through our material, and then we're going to have a section at the end where we kind of go through the questions and answer them. So we'll dive more into this GM situation. We're going to bring on Sam Driscoll here in a little while from the Caniac Report. He's going to offer his opinions and thoughts around the whole GM situation, which kind of differ from ours a little bit. Well, not a little bit, a lot of it.
There you go. A lot. I was about to say.
We'll get to that shortly, but real quick, we are moving forward, right? The NHL announced that the Cup final starts, June 8th, I believe, and goes for a little over 2 weeks, and ends like 4 days before the draft. I believe the draft is on June 28th. Is that right, AB? I could be wrong on that.
We could look at it right now.
I think it's June 28th.
I will give you props if you're correct.
I hope I am.
Let's find out.
I need you to hurry up, though. While he's looking that up, though, free agent
June 28th. June 28th.
Boom, got it. All right, yeah. So then the draft June 28th, and then right after that, we move into free agency, which starts July 1st at noon Eastern. I love free agency day. I remember last year. You remember last year, AB? It was the day
we lost internet.
That was the day like Twitter went down and everybody got their like. You remember that?
Yeah, I had to watch ESPN. I had to watch ESPN to figure everything out, and then like I was waiting for so much stuff because on Twitter, I mean, it's just immediately. But like I'm sitting there waiting for something to happen. I couldn't
right.
because I think it was right after
Elon took over.
Yeah. So
yeah, Twitter crashed.
Thanks, Elon.
That better not happen again this year.
Yeah.
But anyway, Carolina, right? We all know it's no secret. We have a slew of free agents coming up this year. And we'll bring it up right now for you to look at. This is by way of Cap Friendly. If you're not familiar with Cap Friendly, you should be. If you're a hockey fan, I love Cap Friendly, and I live here for all of my contract needs, knowledge needs. But you can see right here our list of free agents coming up this season, right? So if you're not familiar with this platform, the blue means, RFA or restricted free agent. The little hammer beside that means they have arbitration rights. So if they're an RFA with no arbitration rights, like Seth Jarvis, you see it right there. And then the red, that's the UFAs coming up this season, unrestricted free agents who are basically free to sign with whoever they so choose or whoever wants to employ their services on July 1st at noon Eastern. So this is our forward list right here. So you can see our 4 free agents, unrestricted free agents here. We'll talk more about some of these players later, but, there's some news surrounding Martin Necas that I'm sure many of you have heard about. But for the most part, you can plan on most of the RFAs coming back or at least getting a qualifying offer. I would hold up on Martin Necas. We know that there's trade speculation and rumors surrounding him. We'll see what happens with that. So that's our forward list, and we'll scroll on down and we'll see our defenders, right? Dylan Coughlin, RFA with arbitration rights. I'm sure we'll see him receive a qualifying offer. Maybe he plays up in the big team, up to Canes next year, depending on how the offseason shakes out. But in all likelihood, he'll be in Chicago with the Wolves now that they are our AHL affiliate again. And then you can see our 4 defensemen, UFAs, in Jalen Chatfield, Tony DeAngelo, Brett Pesce, and Brady Shea. Again, we're going to dive more into this later and who we think may be retained, re-signed, and who may walk. We'll talk more about that later. And then all 3 of the goalies are due to be back for the 24-25 season as of now. We'll see how that plays out too.
Except for one other goalie is a free agent.
Oh, yeah. You're right. He's down here on the injured reserve list, but Antti Ranta is also a UFA. So yeah, that's what we're looking at as far as free agents go. But we know that until July 1st, we are able to negotiate with our free agents.
That's right.
Only us, right? But as soon as July 1st at noon Eastern hits, that's when everyone is free to sign contracts wherever they choose. So, all right, AB, are you ready to get into this Adam Gold interview?
Oh, I am.
I am. Any last thoughts on the what I'm trying to say here, the free agents?
I'll let that speak for itself here in a little bit. So I'll probably go on a rant since we have over an hour.
All right. Well, then, without further ado, we will get you over to our interview with Adam Gold. It's about 22 minutes long. Hope you hang out and pay attention to it. So, yeah, here we go.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. I don't think the sound went over, did it?
I'm not sure.
Well, let's try it again. Sorry, bear with us here.
Let me do this.
I got it. Hold on.
Oh, I can remove myself from the screen like when the interview comes up. That would probably be helpful too.
Sorry, just bear with us. Yeah, bear with us here just a second. I don't think the sound came through. All right, we should be good now. Here we go. We're going to try it again. All right, now joining us here for session 45 of Caniac Sessions, we have with us Adam Gold. He is Canes Insider, host of the Adam Gold Show on 99.9 The Fan and Canes Corner podcast live on YouTube. Adam, we appreciate you coming back to talk to us today about this off season and basically, what we have to look forward to over the next 40 days or so.
It's going to start. It's going to start early. Apologize for me being in the, but unnecessary evil. Have a son that needs to be picked up.
I totally understand that. I play taxi driver myself all the time, so with my kids.
My biggest job.
For sure, definitely agree. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Adam, let's get right into it here. There's some questions to ask you to get your take on, and we'll start with none other than the elephant in the room and the current situation in the organization with their general manager and the exit of Don Waddell. The whole situation to me just kind of sucks, right? It was a complete shocker. I guess I was just so focused on the upcoming free agents and Rod Brendamore's contract. I didn't even realize that, it was time for Don to figure his out too. But he held a press conference today in Columbus, day one on the job. He made some comments about his decision and his transition from Carolina. I think you could tell that he really wasn't being 100% forthcoming in his responses, but you could tell there was some displeasure in the way that Tom has handled the organization over the years, as far as Don is concerned. But do you think the owner and the way he runs the organization has anything to do with this? And do you disagree with the way he runs the organization?
I can't disagree with success. The Hurricanes have had success for a reason. When you're president and general manager of a hockey team, as Don Waddell has been for the last 6 years, you would expect that you would have control over hockey decisions, over any decisions. The truth of the matter is that Don Waddell did not. And we can disagree with that all day long. The team is doing well on the ice, selling out the building. There are tons of events at PNC Arena. So who's to argue with success? I think Tom Dundon has done an outstanding job as in 6 years of being the owner of the Hurricanes. Contrast that with what David Tepper has done with the Carolina Panthers. I think we all know who's been more successful. So,
absolutely.
But I think if you're in Don's position as president and general manager, you would like more control. And I don't know what the compensation. It was not what other presidents and general managers are earning around the league, especially one with 6 straight years of playoff appearances and at least one playoff round win in each of those 6 years. So I think it was Don's right, maybe in some ways his obligation to himself, to seek out a similar role for likely significantly more money with also more control. If that's a criticism of Tom Dundon, so be it. I think that's just the reality.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think I think the way that Tom runs the organization, it may be different from what's popular among the horizon, but I think it works here, and that's been proven. And I tend to like it mostly. I think I guess you could, for lack of better terms, rule by committee, right, is kind of working here. And to your point, there's evidence of that.
Now, let me just interject one thing. I don't know that it's accurate to say rule by committee.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dundon makes all the decisions. So, and even though he's not necessarily the point person, Dundon also negotiates the bigger contracts. So, there was a lot of things today that Don could not be completely candid on. And I think his preference would have been to stay here. But he wasn't going to get what he wanted by staying here. So good for Don. Don is a good man. He's a good hockey man. He's well respected around the league, deserves to get everything he can out of this system. I would say that about any player. There's really no difference between Don Waddell and Jake Gensel, in that Jake Gensel should go to free agency and get what he can out of the system. And if the Hurricanes can come close and Gensel really enjoyed his time here, then Carolina can get it back. But it remains to be seen whether that can happen. But we knew it wasn't going to happen. I knew it wasn't going to happen with Don. I was surprised that nobody mentioned it at the press conference last Monday to announce Rod's contract. I was surprised that nobody brought it up, because I brought it up in my conversation with him. I edited it out because I thought it was uncomfortable for Don. But at the end of our conversation, and I played it the day that I started it on the podcast. I did a podcast Friday night where I played the clip of that where I edited it out, because I asked him. I said, "Well, you're going to be here, right?" And he stopped, and he didn't have any answer. And then I said, "Well, there's a pause." And he goes, "Always happy to be with you, Adam." And we just both laughed. And then when we were done recording, we talked. And I was not surprised that Don left at all. I was surprised that he resigned, because I thought, and again, I don't think he was completely truthful. He knew where he was likely headed, I think, last week, but the way it ended, that's fine. I mean, to resign and then immediately go to Columbus, yeah, that's too quick.
Yeah,
So,
agree. I just think it just wasn't on a lot of people's radar. I mean, they just kind of have grown comfortable with the fact that has been here, and he was right in the middle of all the the path forward, was kind of, had his hands all over it. So it just caught a lot of people off guard, including me.
Yeah. So, Adam, I want to talk to you about this shifting from the general manager and ownership side. A lot of talks from Twitter and just everybody. We saw Jesperi Kotkaniemi have a really strong start to the season, but he could never really carry that through the rest of the year. And obviously, Kuznetsov was brought in, and that added center depth. And our center depth is pretty strong, but with the offseason in full effect, with the Canes and other teams that are currently not in the playoffs, do you think a second line right-handed center is the best bet and, dump KK's contract? And if you want a second line center, if so, who do you target?
Well, I know who I want. Don't know if he's ultimately going to be available. But I've been Team Elias Lindholm for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe Elias Lindholm. I don't believe the organization, meaning the owner, looks at Elias Lindholm the same way I do. So I don't know that he's going to be the name. I think a right-handed center is as important as getting a second line center.
Mm-hmm.
The Hurricanes don't have a right-handed option in the middle. They have some right-handed guys who can take faceoffs. Jarvis, to this point, Natchez. That's an interesting name to talk about in the summer.
We're getting there.
But they don't have a right-handed center. So they need that. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, dumping that is, that is a complicated situation, simply because the owner does not like dead money. He doesn't like to buy out contracts. I mean, you can buy him out and pay him you're responsible on the cap for about a little over $800,000 a year for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's not that bad, right? Considering that you're responsible, financially for $4.8 million a year for 6 years. So 30 cents on the dollar stretched out over 10 years is not a bad deal. But I think what is more to the owner's liking is to find somebody who finds value in that player. And I don't know where you find that, but the notion that he is a viable second center doesn't work for me. And I don't think it works for anybody. I know it doesn't work for the head coach, who clearly, I think I think Rod looks at him like a fourth center option.
Mm-hmm.
If this team wasn't going to pay a third pair defenseman, $4.5 million a year, because that's, if you go back to like the Calvin DeHaan days, that's why they got rid of him after 1 year. Like, if they weren't going to feel comfortable doing that, then they're not comfortable playing a fourth line center, $4.8 million a year.
Yeah.
He's not as good as Jack Drury. He's not as good, obviously, as Jordan Staal. And he might be as good as Yevgeny Kuznetsov. I don't know, but because it all depends on what Kuznetsov is in year 2 of the Carolina Hurricanes experiment with him. And I think there are some questions about him also this offseason. What does he want to do? Does he want to commit to playing this way?
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be better if they could find a new home for Jesperi Kotkaniemi. That would also free up nearly $5 million.
So, a follow-up question to that. The Hurricanes have really good depth in their now AHL because the Chicago Wolves and the Hurricanes came to an agreement. You have guys like Bradley Nadeau, somebody who's not in the AHL system, Alexander Nikishin, Felix Ungersorum. I know it's really far away, but do you see any guys in the system right now that can make the opening night roster?
I mean, there are guys who can make the opening night roster. I don't see anybody that will make the opening night roster and make a significant impact next year. So, yeah, I mean, could Jackson Blake make the team as a fourth line forward? Yeah, he could. Why am I drawing a blank on the kid from UMass, the defenseman?
Scott Morrow.
From UMass. Drawing a blank. Scott Morrow. Could Morrow make the team? Yeah, he can make the team, but I don't think he's going to have a tremendous impact. In the score sheet, in the lineup, I don't think he's going to play in a top 4 role. Certainly not in year one. Nikishin, they have to negotiate him out of Russia first. His KHL contract runs through this year. I know Don Waddell mentioned last week that he was trying to figure out a way to get him out of it. But right now they don't. So he wouldn't be here until after his KHL season came to an end. So I don't see anybody in the minor leagues or elsewhere that's going to make an impact on this year's team. At least not unless they make a trade and acquire some up-and-coming prospects who are maybe more NHL ready. I like the future of Bradley Nadeau, Jackson Blake a little bit lesser, but I like their futures. But I don't think their futures are now.
No, I'm kind of under the impression that this is kind of like, we're kind of starting, in my opinion, on like a 5-year plan here. I think if, a lot of these young guys that we've just signed and, get them, integrated into the organization, them improve personally, and then the team as a whole, if the team, I believe, makes some good decisions here and gets a good mix of veterans and young guys, I think we're kind of on a 5-year path. And to me, it makes sense that Rod's contract goes 5 years. I mean, I know some of that, the back end might be team options and, we don't really know the specifics, but I think this team has a real good chance to be back to the top here in 3 or 4, maybe 5 years. And I think it aligns like that. And that's just my opinion, speculation, but
I wouldn't wait for. I hope it's not 5 years.
I hope it's not either.
I mean, I'm serious. You have Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov. We haven't even talked about Seth Jarvis.
Right.
Jordan Stahl for 3 more years. I believe Jordan Martinook will be re-signed. Jesper Foss for 2 more years. That's your fourth line. You're going to need to find some depth scoring. I think Mason will be back. I think Chatfield. That's a contract you got to get figured out. But Carolina's got too many good players to think about this. Like, do I expect them to be one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the NHL next year, like they were this year, last year, the year before? Not really, but I think they should be a playoff team.
Yeah.
And they're going to have money to spend because they're not going to spend it on Jay Gensel, my guess. Maybe they will. I don't think so. They won't be spending it on Brett Pesce or Brady Shea. So I mean, they got to go out and find some players to complement what they've got. But I think I would not be so quick to think that this team is going to go through some rebuild.
Yeah.
I realized they were one of the best teams in the league 4 years in a row. You go back to the crazy pandemic Central, best team in the East, and 3rd best team overall behind Vegas and Colorado. The next year, they won the Metro. Only Florida, only Florida had a better record.
Right.
Last year, Boston. Right. This year, it was Rangers and Dallas. So they were one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the league 4 years running. I don't expect that, but I also don't expect them to be like 14th in the league either. I think the culture is strong enough. They'll win. They'll win plenty of games. I think they'll be good. They just got to find the right mix.
Curious, just real quick, curious why you think that that Gensel won't be re-signed? Is it the price tag, or is there something else?
No, I think it's the price tag.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to go to July 1. If it doesn't go to July 1, it's going to cost Carolina about $9.5 million. I think when Gensel hits the open market, that's basically what the price is going to ultimately be. He's not going to be a $10 million player because he's not a 50-goal scorer, right? He's a 35 to 40-goal guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not, 6'2", 220. He fits in the physical mold of Carolina players. But he's a goal scorer, and he's a 200-foot player, and somebody else is going to see the value in that. And I think Carolina would like that number to come in closer to $8 million, and I don't think it's going to come in at that number. And I think Carolina is probably, hey, look, if they could get him for 8 times 8.25, I think they'd probably, I guess it's 8. But they're also not going to do 8 years for somebody who's 30. Think about this. Seth Jarvis, who's way more of a priority than Jake Gensel. Mm-hmm. When the 8-year contract ends, he'll be as old as Jake Gensel is now.
Yeah, that's fair.
They're going to pay that money to Seth Jarvis first. I just don't think they're going to have the money to sign Gensel to a long-term deal that he could get anywhere else on the open market, and likely a better one. So as much as Gensel loved it here, I just don't see a path forward unless Gensel is willing to play for a shorter term and for probably less money that he could get somewhere else. I just don't see that. But we'll see what the owner says.
Yeah, that's fair. I hope you're wrong. I really would like to see.
Right.
I would really like to see him stay.
I'm never wrong about these things, even though I was wrong about everything this past offseason and at the trade deadline. Everything.
No, I understand. I've been following you long enough to know that for sure. But holding out for one of those times right here. So
no, I was wrong. I didn't think they would dip into free agency last year, and they did. And I didn't think they would be big players at the trade deadline, and they did. It's just I don't even recognize, who are you? But I don't see them signing Gensel.
Yeah.
Two more questions for you, and then we'll let you go. These will be quick. Quick depending on your answer, I guess. But your thoughts on Eric Tulsky, and should he be the guy?
I mean, Eric Tulsky is a guy who has obviously established himself as one of those new era general manager candidates, right? I'll just go I'll go to baseball. And the Theo Epsteins of the world, right? Mm-hmm. Who came in. It's not like they don't love the sport or have a deep knowledge of the sport, but they looked at it from a completely different angle. And that's what Tulsky is. And the analytics and how it shapes team building in hockey, we're still in the early stages of that, I think. But I'm not knocking it. But that's what Eric Tulsky represents. Mm-hmm. Do I think he's ready to be an NHL general manager? In other situations, probably no. For this franchise, yeah, he can be the general manager here. Because, again, it all comes down to what the owner wants. And if the owner wants to hire Tulsky to be his GM, he's legitimately as good a candidate as any, because Tom is not going to give the control away to a more traditional GM type anyway, that those GMs would want to work for. Remember, Don Waddell was not the first choice to be GM 6 years ago. He only took it because the Hurricanes got the second pick in the draft. He was not. They went through a whole bunch of other candidates, but Tom and those candidates could not come to terms on any sort of an agreement.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Interesting. I think it's interesting that I didn't really expect them to start a search. Maybe they're doing their due diligence, but
Sure, but ultimately it's going to be Tulski, and that's fine. I'm not knocking it.
yeah,
I think Eric is super bright, and if it's a new way of doing things, it's a new way of doing things. That's what the Hurricanes are good at.
absolutely. Yeah. Well, I will let that be the last question, Adam. I really appreciate you joining us. We'll let you get back to your drive here. So,
my travels are almost complete.
You got to be the chauffeur for just a little bit longer.
Yep, no question. But he doesn't want to even go to driver's ed. I don't get it.
Well, he's got to do it before he's 18 because you can't be the chauffeur for that long.
That's right.
That's right. All right, Adam. Thanks a lot. Take care, and we'll talk to you again soon.
You got it. Take care, fellas.
You as well.
All right. Well, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Adam Gold. That was pre-recorded, but I thought there was a lot of good things that came out of it. AB, what about you?
Yeah, he really answered my Jesperi Kotkaniemi question that I really liked a lot. And yeah, I mean, he talked about Getzel going to July 1st, maybe the price tag. I know he's going to ask for a lot of money, but yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. I always love having Adam on.
Yeah, I really do hope he's wrong about Gensel. I hope he can figure out a way to pay him, and maybe he'll come in under that $9.5 million price tag. We'll see. But all right, we're going to get on. We're going to bring in Sam Driscoll from the Caniac Report here in just a second. Go through some more discussions, kind of hash out some hot topics that are on the landscape here through the offseason. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsor at DraftKings. We are this close to crowning the Stanley Cup champion, and with the action heating up on the ice, it's even hotter at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. New to DraftKings? Listen up. New customers can get a no-sweat bet up to $1,500. $1,500. Just deposit at least $5 and you'll get a bonus bet back equal to your first bet if it doesn't hit. Call to action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers and get a no sweat bet up to $1,500 if your first bet doesn't hit. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. One no sweat bet per new customer. Issued as one bonus bet based on amount of initial losing bet. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/ice for eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Copyright NHL 2024, all rights reserved. All right, so take advantage of that. DraftKings Sportsbook. Get your bonus bets, or sorry, not bonus bets, no sweat bet now. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good deal, AB.
Very good deal.
All right, so joining us now is Sam Driscoll from the Caniac Report. How you doing, Sam?
No, just...
So rude, Avies. This is why I like Matt more.
Okay.
Oh. Matt is Griff. Just he calls me by my first name, but we're good with that. Just to clarify.
But I'm glad to be here.
Good. So we're going to talk about a few things here. We're going to talk about this offseason, kind of the uncertainty surrounding the team and the GM situation, or the perceived uncertainty, right? We're going to ask you, who you think should be the new GM. Should it be Tulski? Should it be someone else? Do you have any targets that the team should be looking at? We're going to talk about offseason priorities, We're going to talk about the trade versus free agent markets that are out there and some of the rumors surrounding those. We'll talk about players to re-sign, trade for, or free agents that we should go after. And then, just some areas on the ice that we think the team needs to improve on. So, Sam, I'll give you the floor. What do you think about this GM situation, and how do you think that the team should navigate this moving forward?
Yeah, I think it was a shock. I didn't realize his contract was coming up. And so when I started to see that his name was being floated around, because I noticed Elliot Friedman mentioned it weeks before it was really even a panic mode in Carolina. He just dropped it in one of his episodes that he's heard Don Waddell's name floated a little bit in Columbus. And it was a 2-second blurb, and no one covered it in Carolina. It wasn't even a thought, and it probably wasn't at the time. So I think it's put the fans in a panic because you have a lot to do this offseason, right? This isn't one of those off seasons where it's like, oh, whatever. Like last season, where it was important, it wasn't a do or die off season necessarily, right? If you don't get Orlov, you're fine. If you don't get Michael Bunting, you're fine, right? That's really what you did. The biggest thing we did last off season was sign Aho to an extension. But this offseason is important, so I think the general manager search is right now priority one. I mean, you've got Tulsky and you have Darren York and the other general manager, who I can't think of, assistant general manager anyway, who honestly is the guy who handles the contract. It's not even Waddell, or wasn't even Waddell or Tulsky. Sounds like he's the guy who really deals with a lot of the contracts. They're working on that, and I'm sure they're going to get working on it. But I was doing research today, just kind of looking at some general managers, and I have Tulsky as fourth on my list. I don't like the new style of GM that he believes in, which is statistics and analytics, and the old saying, right? There's lies, damn lies, in statistics, and I think it's dangerous when you're a little too much into the analytics world. I think it's fine to have as an AGM and someone to bring that side. I think it's important. But I saw three general managers that are my top three choices. I'll go with number 3 first, and I'll work up to my number 1.
Real quick before you go into that, we're going to just bring up this question here, since it pertains from Joseph Griffith. I might know this guy. He said, who else is out there besides our interim GM that you both think could possibly come in to take Don's vacancy? So Sam is about to answer that question, so I just wanted to throw it up here.
Yeah, so I think there are 3 names that I like a lot. I'll go with Tulsky would be my 4th choice. But I agree with what Adam said. At the end of the day, does it really matter? I don't know, because Don's kind of the guy in charge, and you can agree or disagree with that.
Tom.
Yeah, Tom's really the guy in charge. And again, agree or disagree, it's up to you and the listeners to make that decision. But number 3 would be Ron Hextall. Just a couple of things. Player development. He's known for his emphasis on developing young talent during his time with the Flyers, prioritized building through the draft. Cap management. That's important when you're a cap team. It's a strength of his. Hextall has demonstrated a keen ability to manage the salary cap. Again, that's when you're a team, like, again, we're talking about the KK buyout. This is a guy who might know how to handle that situation and be able to bring a perspective, I think is important. Talk about analytics. He has an analytical approach. The way he handles his trades, draft pick signings, all that's based on analytics. So similar to Tulsky, and I would got a little bit more experience, which is why I recommend him at 3. And above Tulsky, he's got those experiences and those in that thing around the league. Leadership experience. Again, he served in front offices, including the LA Kings. He was assistant general manager when they won the Stanley Cup. Again, he's got some mixed relationships around the league. He's known for signing, taking care of Malkin and Tang in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
that was a big deal there. But he is respected around the league, and I think that's important too.
He definitely knows people for sure.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he's definitely got that down.
When your name is Ron Hextall, you kind of hope so.
Yeah, for sure.
Number 2 is a guy I like him a lot. He's not my number 1 though. But Elliot Friedman's mentioned him as a guy that makes sense in Carolina. His name is Chuck Fletcher. He was a former GM of the Flyers, the Wild, Penguins, and the Panthers.
Yeah,
talk about experience. The guy's got it all over the place. But the big reason why he's known and why Elliot Friedman thinks he's a good pick is he's known for his diplomatic approach and he works really well with others. He's very well respected around the league, has a lot of relationships around the league. Listen to what Elliot says, and why I do believe Eric Tolsky will not be the general manager of this franchise is I think Tom really, truly, truly wants someone in that role who's been around the league a while and able to have those conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important to him, especially when you're a guy who doesn't have those relationships. And I don't think Tom has done any favors for himself to improve those relationships around the league with how he handles this franchise. Again, love him or hate him, I don't think he's loved necessarily.
Yeah.
I should talk to Montreal fans. I don't think he's very loved up there.
Not up there for sure.
He's also Fletcher's got known for player development. Jonas Brodin, Matt Dunbar, a couple players. They had some good years under him. Balanced approach to team building. That sounds like Carolina. Cap management skills, again, that's huge for this franchise. So I think he's a solid option. Again, some people might not like him because of the Philadelphia thing. But they had older players in that roster who had to be moved out. And if you want to blame Chuck Fletcher for that, you can do so if you want. But again, doesn't matter. Tom's going to be making decisions. My first choice, though, I think is a guy who, if you take a look what's needed right now, and that's signing big names and spending big money. If you listen to our podcast, you know I've mentioned the name before. Former Columbus Blue Jackets general manager Jarmo Kekalainen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's been around the league for a while, proven track record, and he's also known for his scouting. So if you want to talk about a guy, how I view him as a Ron Francis 2.0, right? His ability to the draft is exceptional. Take a look at the guys that have been drafted in Columbus: Adam Fantilli, Ken Johnson, just to name a couple, who are going to be all-stars in the league.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as they continue to get better. I think take a look at other players, right? Zach Werenski, Pierre-Luc Dubois, making significant trades. Dude knows how to get it done. Right. He's got a simple – he's known for making big deals, and he's known for being a tough negotiator, something that I think Tom Dunton's really going to like a lot and you need when you got to sign all these guys. Yeah. And dude's not afraid to spend money and make big splashes. Johnny Gaudreau comes to mind when you take a look at a guy who made a contract there.
He fell in his lap, to be honest, though.
He did fall in his lap, but you got it done. And I mean,
accurate. Yeah.
And
2 points.
Anywhere.
Sorry, I didn't.
No, that was it. I was done with
just thing. 2 points that I have on that is one is the biggest to me. You mentioned these names, but these individuals have to be okay with coming on board and not having, the key to the city, basically. They would play a part in the decisions and mainly not the decisions. I mean, we heard Adam talk about it. It's more as an advisor role. The GM role in Carolina is more of an advisor role who operates under Tom Dundon, the owner of the team. And that's just the way it is. Whether you like it or whether you don't, that's the way it is. And so the individual that you bring in to fill that role, you mentioned 3 guys that have been around and respected and, they've been doing this a long time. Are they okay coming on board in that capacity? I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they want a lesser role, in that aspect. I mean, I don't know, but that is a factor in who you bring in. And my second thing on that is, I'm pro Tulsky. I'd like to see him get the position. And I'm so tired of recycling coaches and general managers in this league. It just every year somebody's fired and they're hired 3 days later. And it's just a cycle, and sometimes it works out. I mean, look at Peter Laviolette has done great with the Rangers this year.
Paul Maurice,
guys that were here a couple times, one of them, but just I'm ready for like fresh face. Maybe it's not going to be successful off the bat. Maybe it's going to take a bit, but I am okay with giving this a chance, because if it works, it's going to be. I mean, Carolina's good at being the first to do things, in my opinion. So, this organization is run different from any of the other 31 teams across the NHL, and I just think that if any team can do it, it can be Carolina. Those are my 2 points.
Yeah, I think those are fair. I'll go with the second one first. Do I think Tulsky can do the job? To be honest with you, I don't know. And my concern isn't that he isn't capable of doing the analytics and understanding what's necessary. I don't know if he's equipped to make the deal, right? Can he go into Minnesota and pull off that trade for Victor Rask and Niederreiter? I know that's an extreme example.
That's an extreme.
I mean, you could take a look at anything. Could he have pulled off Michael Bunting and the draft picks and stuff going to Pittsburgh and bringing Jake Ensel? I don't know. And I guess for him, when you're in a position of a win now, I'm not looking to experiment. Doesn't mean, if we were like in a rebuilding phase where you have an opportunity to do something special, like say San Jose, Anaheim, Utah, I think those are good fits for Tulsky, because that's a place where he can have his vision and he has an opportunity, right? Because there's no pressure there, right? You're trash. You're going to be trash for a little while. And now you got an opportunity to prove that what you can do makes sense. So again, does it matter? I don't know. And that goes into your first point of Tom, are the guys that I mentioned going to be willing to do it? Well, if you take a look at all three left situations, maybe not in the best light, right? Ron Hextall left Pittsburgh. They've been struggling, right? So people are going to look at that a little different. Jarmo Kekalainen left a Columbus Blue Jackets team, has been unable to make the playoffs. So are these guys with assets and experience going to be okay coming to Carolina? Well, if you want to compare him to somebody, compare him to Don Waddell, right? A guy who had experience, has been around the league, was okay with doing this. Where did he come? He came from a bad situation in Atlanta, right? It ended up being a disaster when he was a GM there, came to Carolina, and now he's getting paid a boatload of money to take over Columbus. So are these guys going to be willing to do it for a few years? I mean, would you go to a situation where you're going to look good no matter what, and then in 3 years you can go get paid boondoggles to go be a GM of an ailing Rangers team in a few years when their players age out?
We can hope.
I would just say, Panarin and Zibanejad aren't spring chickens. They're going to age out, and Kreider as well. So
I'm here for the downfall of the Rangers.
I think all three of those guys take that deal, knowing in 3 years, New York, they're going to get paid because they're going to see what happened in Carolina. That's what happened with Don Waddell.
Yeah, I just think back to when Rod Brindamore was hired here as the coach. Just no proven track record. I mean, behind the bench, and to me, he's knocked it out of the park. Especially, man, that first year, like. Do we make the playoff? Do we return to the playoffs that first year without him? I mean, I don't know. Maybe. But sometimes I just think that if you have a guy ready to go, sometimes you just take a risk. High risk, high reward.
Well, in that situation, what'd you have to lose? Missed the playoffs for over a decade. You're going to try something. And he was cheap. Point. And Dundon likes cheap. And Ron was cheap because he'd never done it before.
Absolutely. AB, what you got, buddy?
I'll just say this. I mean, if you look at that staff from the top to the bottom, and the same with coaching, like there is obviously clearly a connection with all of them. And imagine if you bring in somebody who, hasn't been doing well recently, to take over this team that already has these relationships with each other and with the coaches, and also. The assistant GM isn't just a name tag. I mean, they are involved in trades and everything like that. So there may be stuff that we don't know that Tulsky helped Waddell or helped the team. So we just don't know. I just think an outside hire is not really the best bet right now, especially with a lot of guys probably on their way out. And if it's a new general manager, I mean, are you going to take that risk or have somebody that the players know and that the staff knows and are comfortable with negotiating more freely than going to re-signing with that team and have somebody on the outside who doesn't know a lot about the team.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure the players really care who the GM is. I mean, a lot of the negotiating happens between the agent and the general manager anyway. So I mean, but I do hear what you're saying. I mean, there is a lot of, there's some predictability there with the way, certain contracts can shape out, and agents get to know, the kind of the trends of the organization when it comes to contracts and such. So that's
it doesn't matter with Tom. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah,
or Fletcher or anybody, or if it's you, Griff or AB, is it going to matter because you're going to do what Tom tells you to do anyway?
I'll do it. Let's go. I'm down. Pay me.
You'll take half of whatever they're offering, right?
Told them to bring me my money.
We'll probably suck, but I'll give it my best shot. But I think it's going to be interesting to see play out. Hopefully we know something here within the coming weeks. Like we said, draft is up. Draft is coming quick. Free agency right around the corner. So we will see if they go another GM route, or maybe they just bring in a president of hockey ops. I mean, that's a possibility too.
I think Tulsky would be very good in that job. So if you do promote him, putting him as president of hockey operations, a guy with the savviness and the analytics, I don't think that's a bad spot there at all.
Well, I think a lot of that's the business side of the organization too. The running this whole this development getting ready to happen around the arena. A lot of that is Don handled a lot of that.
I think Tulsky or Darren York could handle that well.
Maybe they can.
And I wouldn't be opposed to promoting Tulsky to president of hockey ops.
Okay. Well, we will find out, fellas, here probably in the next couple weeks. Hopefully soon.
Sounds like they want it before the draft.
Well, they better.
And apparently they have started interviewing candidates for GM.
Yeah.
So that is underway. That's happened this week.
I hope it's not one of those things with the general manager. If Tulsky is going to be the next general manager, or if interim, I just don't want Tom to have him to be like, okay, you're going to sit at this desk and just look pretty. Don't do anything. Don't do anything right now. Nothing's set in stone.
Hold on. We've got a treat here, boys. We have a treat here. All right. So joining us from the penalty box, probably a game misconduct here.
Yeah, probably.
We've got Brandon from the Warning Take, fresh off the ice. How'd the game go, buddy?
Oh, it was fun. We just played pickup on Friday nights, and I haven't got to skate in a while, so it was nice to get to do it today.
Yeah. Is that a Fayetteville Marksman jersey you have on there?
Yep, this is my white one. I got a black one too.
Nice.
Yep, and figured I also have my Pro Stock Hurricanes Warrior Covert QRE pants, Pro Stock Hurricane CCM Resistance, and the best part, HG 97s in the alternate colors.
Man, you're official.
Yeah, no, that when it comes to my hockey gear, that's the one thing that I'm willing to take out a mortgage to have all the things that I like.
I think somebody's about to get a contract.
Did you win?
We're halfway there. You got
Unless
the
they're
gear.
making a league to see who can suck the most, I'm not making it in anything like that.
So did you win?
We stopped keeping score about a minute in.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, no, we were just playing pickup. It was a lot of fun, and I've got it on my GoPro too, so I'll be posting that a little while later, probably tomorrow or Sunday.
All right, so yeah, this is Brandon from The Warning Take. Check him out on YouTube at The Warning Take. Great content. Always enjoy watching your channel. Are you going to hang out and talk, or do you got to go?
Oh, no, I can hang out for a minute. I just won't have anything intuitive to say because I'm oxygen deprived. But
All right on. Well, we just got done talking about the GM situation, the GM search, and we are going to move on here. And we're going to go through a list of off-season priorities. We're going to do this quick, and then we're going to get into the trade versus free agent market. And we're going to wrap this up here within the next probably 15 minutes or so. So
I just want to say real quick, though, my vote for GM is ET.
Okay. Yeah, that's mine as well. But we just
I think he's ready.
Yeah. Well, I agree. We have dissected that until, I mean, we've been through that every which way. So But yeah,
Yeah, I'm going to listen to the replay on the way home.
Right on. Anyway, so off-season priorities. I think, and when I say off-season priorities, I mean more like players, right? Obviously, a priority is to figure out the GM situation, but I mean more specific positions and free agents or pending UFAs that are currently on the team. So I'll open it up to you guys. AB, I'll start with you. What do you think? Give me one of your main priorities this offseason.
I say you go after a second line center because we've given KK so many chances. And, last year he had 43 points, which is pretty good. But, I mean, to be a third overall pick and your career high be like 40 points and the others are like 27, 20, whatever it may be. Like, that's a big contract, too. And he's not living up to that contract. And we already have an influx of centers. Like I asked Adam about his take on it, but I think you need to go after a right-handed center because you need somebody that can win face-offs in the right dot. Because you can have like a lefty, or
we
have
got plenty
Jarvis
of those
come in, and we have a ton of lefties. But like you have to have balance, and the KK contract would just give us some. Would let us navigate our needs a little bit better. Besides re-signing guys. So I think number one priority is to sign a second right-handed center.
Okay. Sam.
I like the players so much. I'm just going to say Brady Shea. I bring him back at all costs. And the reason I'm not saying one of our RFAs is one of the RFAs. Qualify him and get to work, right? You have until puck drops in the preseason to take care of Jarvis, and it's going to get done. I don't care who the general manager is. He's going to get paid. It's going to get done.
Absolutely.
So I take a look at guys, the time clock, and Shea is one of them. So I like Brady. I want him back. I don't care how long he wants to be here. Let him stay for the full 8. I don't care. There's no slow on him. But, yeah, Brady Shea's like my top priority.
Can I just say that view of Brandon is magnificent, especially with the helmet on.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon.
I'm debating on once my surgery's done, I'm hoping I'll put my visor back on because this thing is, I hate this thing.
That's awesome.
Well, fishbowl.
Worse, but yeah, I'm wearing the fishbowl because I'd rather wear a fishbowl than a cage, and I got to wear one for a while.
What is your off-season priority?
As far as I
team.
would say specifically, or not specifically, general scheme of things, keep the defense intact would be my number one. Specifically to that, I would say sign Chatfield. Reason being is because he's already got a proven partner with Orlov who's under contract for another season, and you keep the top 4 intact. He'll be the highest return on investment in terms of what you'll pay him and what you'll get out of him. You don't have to give him a ton of term. You could probably pay him about 3.5 by 3 or something along those lines, and you get a lot out of him for that because we're probably not going to be able to keep Pesci, and in my opinion, Chatfield surpassed him in a lot of ways. So I would prioritize keeping him because building a bottom pair after that's not going to be difficult because all you really have to do is you can go out on the market and get a left-handed shutdown guy like Joel Edmondson from free agency. You can go get Mario Ferraro from San Jose, someone like that. And then as far as a bottom pair right-handed guy, you have Morrow. You could re-sign Tony. There's a multitude of things there. But I think everything starts falling into place if you sign Chatfield first. Then you know how much money you have for guys who are going to command more money like Shea, Pesci, so on and so forth.
What about you, Griff?
I agree with everything you guys have all three said. But I'm just going to be, I would love to bring Shea back. I'm not sure it's going to happen. I would like a second line center, right-handed center. I won't say second line. I'll just say right-handed center. Guy that can win faceoffs. I want Chatfield to come back. But I think you've got to try to get Gensel back.
Mm-hmm.
I know what Adam said. I know what he thinks. I'm not sure that that's accurate. I think the organization wants to bring Jake Gensel back.
Take care, sir.
I don't believe that, I don't believe Tom goes out and gets him unless he wants to re-sign him, at the trade deadline. So I think Gensel, if you're taking away Teuvo Teravainen, right, who is probably one of the better partners that Sebastian Aho's had in his tenure here in Carolina, I think you bring Gensel back and put him on Aho's wing. Those two, for a whole season, those two are going to cook. And then if you want Svetch to play up there, Rod said that he wants the line to be a little bit heavier without Jarvis. If you want to put Svetch up there, you can. If you want to put Jarvis up there, you can. I think that line will cook. And then if you want to, bring some prospects in, if you want to, if you want to bring Felix Ungersora, maybe he makes the squad next year. Maybe you want Nadeau I don't know. Bring him in, pay an entry-level contract, let them start developing themselves. Nobody's saying you got to go win the cup next year, but an experience on this team is better than playing down if they have the ability, in my opinion. So there's ways that it can happen.
That point,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, okay. To add to that point, also, like when we think about the forwards that we have coming up, okay, for example, on the blue line, you have Nikishin, who's going to be ready on day one. Scott Morrow's got plenty of guys to mentor him. Even if we lost all of our pending UFAs, he's still got Burns, Slavin, and Orlov there to teach him some things. Jake Gensel being able to mentor guys like Jackson Blake and Bradley Nadeau is going to be especially in my opinion, Nadeau, that's going to be very important for their development to have someone like Jake Gensel, who's a proven scorer. Because if you think Bradley Nadeau has a cannon now, wait until Jake Gensel gives them some pointers.
Yeah, that's fair. But as we look forward, right, to the upcoming free agency date, there's a lot of names out there. I'm not sure that the free agency market this year is as important from a Carolina Hurricanes standpoint as the trade market. We can go through free agents all day long. They're all out there. You can do a quick search and see them. I'm not really interested in digging down to the free agents. The best free agent out there, in my opinion, has been in Raleigh, in Jake Gensel. We're not going to sign Sam Reinhart. We're not going to sign Steven Stamkos. Steven Stamkos is not leaving Tampa Bay. So
I don't think so either.
A free agent to watch is Elias Lindholm, right? Like Adam alluded to in our interview with him. That could be one that we could see if the price is right. I think if Gensel walks, then maybe they look at that. I don't know. We'll see. But I think where we need to spend our time is the trade market. We know all these rumors and the speculation. Well, it's really not speculation. It's fact at this point that Martin Necas would like a trade. We can get a decent return out of Martin Necas. And decent's not even really the word. We should get a good return out of Martin Necas. Yep. And, there's been plenty of trade speculation and rumors out there amongst the insiders, right? The Elliot Friedmans, the Frank Saravallis, all these people. And, I think a few names to watch, right? In a Martin Necas trade, and I look at the goaltenders. We know Linus Allmark from Boston has been rumored to be available. We have been linked to Nashville in the Martin Necas sweepstakes, right? We know that there's a UC Saros playing in Nashville that has a year left on a contract that could be available for a trade. And that this organization probably wants to improve on the, in the net. Is PK the guy? Is Pyotr Kochetkov the guy, next year? Yeah, he probably could be. But I don't think that the Canes are ready for him to be the number one. I think he could be. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. But I don't think Freddie Anderson's going to be on this roster next year. Spencer Martin's going to be in Chicago playing with the Wolves. And I think, and I'd be willing to bet that the return for Martin Necas includes either Linus Allmark or UC Saros. Maybe you see another outsider from somewhere that we're, kind of isn't on anybody's radar, but I think those two, in a goaltender are the favorites for a return for Necas.
Scott Darling.
Oh, here we go. I can't take you seriously.
Hey, you see the pickup game I just played in, I probably could have put up a couple past Scott Darling, and I don't score goals in this league.
Your guys' thoughts on what I just talked about?
Yeah, I think if you want a name that's off the radar, I think a team that needs a goal scorer or needs a guy who's going to produce offense, it's New York Islanders. And you saw this offseason who Patrick Waugh likes as a goalie. Does that mean Sorokin is available at the right price? I don't know. Maybe
they have to retain. They'd have to retain.
Yeah, Sorokin ain't going nowhere.
Well, I think if they do let Sorokin go, they'd have to retain a lot.
I don't think Sorokin.
I think Sorokin is worth every penny he gets paid. I think he has on an Islanders team that's icky anyway. I don't think they're all that great. Does Nate just make it better? Maybe. I think Sorokin's the better goaltender, one of the best goalies in the National Hockey League. You want to talk to Adam Gold, he'll say the same about Sorokin. He's gotten a lot of praise from a lot of people, and he's on an Islanders team. That's why he's not getting the noise that Shesterkin does. But out of realistic opportunities and realistic players, I think Saros is the best one out there. Look at his numbers. He's outstanding. Look at his success in the playoffs. He's outstanding. Look who he mentored under Pekka Rinne, who is also outstanding. So just a great player to bring in. But for Carolina, all I say to them is if you don't get what you want, don't make the deal. Go to arbitration. It's fine. They're not going to make you sign a 7-year deal. It's going to be between probably 2 and 3 years. And if you're stuck paying him $7 million for 2 or 3 years, oh well, you got a 70-point guy on your roster for 2 or 3 years at $7 million. A lot of teams would kill for that.
Martin Necas doesn't make you worse. He doesn't make your team worse. That's for sure.
And don't pull that Alex Nedeljkovic crap and trade him away for pennies on the dollar. And I'll say this about Kochetkov.
Real quick. I'm going to throw this up. Real quick, I'm going to throw this up. He wants to know, do we think PK should be our number one in the pipes next year? How long we answered that one about Freddie. Health issues the past few years. Yeah, we go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, well, I mean, it answers that question. If you want to look at a similar situation, it would be Alex Nedeljkovic, right? They didn't think he was going to be good enough going into the playoffs. That wasn't the direction they wanted to go. They weren't going to start him. They traded him that season. They believed what they saw in the playoffs was him. Notice they did not give Kochetkov a start, even though you think that you would when Freddie wasn't playing all that good. So that might give you an inclination of what they think Kochetkov is capable of now. Now, they signed him. He's under contract for a few more seasons. Nothing to worry about there. He's not going anywhere. But I think that tells you all you need to know about if he's going to be the number one guy next year or not. I think the answer is no.
All right. Well, we won't dig too much more into the trade market here. There's some, you'll see rumors on X every day, some garbage proposals, mock trades. I know that there's like stuff out there with Montreal right now. Supposedly Montreal is some big player for Necas, which there's no way in my opinion.
Josh Anderson.
Every name that I've seen for Necas has been it doesn't make any sense. Okay, it's like one of the big ones with Vancouver is Philip Hronek. Okay, we have 2 or 3 people that we could sign in that are pending UFAs that would fill that role. Like, I don't know what the fascination is with Hronek or Michael Matheson from Montreal. I don't understand the fascination with that one either.
People think we need a defenseman. That's what they think, that we need a defenseman because we're losing.
It seemed like 6 months ago all they talked about is how we had too many defensemen.
Right. Yeah, it's something to watch. It's something to see. I don't know what it's going to come down to, but I've seen, mock trades out there. Necas for Zegras 1-to-1, which I don't know about that either. But one more goaltender that I'll bring up before we move on that I saw may be available is Philip Gustafson from Minnesota.
Mhm.
He's still got 2 years left. What did you say, Sam?
Ish.
Ish. He's still got 2 years on his contract at
I think Fleury of Gus-
3.75. I mean, he's played solid for Minnesota at
Yeah,
times.
he's been better than Fleury.
I mean,
Fleury's also
Fleury's
getting
on
old.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that's a goaltender's name that's been out there. Markstrom's name has been out there. I see him going to Jersey, but
I think
Or
Gustafson.
go ahead. What?
Gustafson would be a good one, so that way you have you create competition between him and Kochekov for a 1A and 1B type of dynamic. Whereas if you bring someone like Omar or Saros in, that kind of pretty much automatically relegates Kochekov to the 1B or the backup role, and at that point it would be the other guy's net to lose. You could bring Philip Gustafson and be like, okay, boys, let's see how each of you do after 10 starts, and then we're going to decide who the starter is from there, and then it's their net to lose. Whereas if somebody else shows up, sorry about the background noise, they're doing figure skating behind me now.
I'm about to kick you. I'm about to kick you out there. No, I'm just kidding.
I think you should join them.
Huh?
You should join them. You should go out there and do a bunch of spins.
Well, you know what's funny? I've actually got. I'll tell you all about that some other time. Yeah, Philip Gustafson actually is a really good name to bring out, but unfortunately, guys, I can't hear you all, and I think that this is going to kind of mess up the stream for you guys, so I'm going to jump off of here.
Later, buddy. Thanks for jumping in.
Yeah, I'll see you guys in a little while. I'll join you
Right
in the
on.
back.
Later, buddy.
Good play.
That was entertaining.
That was beautiful. Especially when he had the helmet on in the middle of the
Yeah,
of the
I had to
stream.
bring him in. Had to. But yeah, so I think that takes care of everything I really wanted to talk about today or tonight. Do you guys have anything else looming that you would like to discuss, or any last thoughts, anything like that?
You think we do anything exciting on draft day? Like predictions? You two, AB, Griff, anything big, exciting, fun? Trades?
No.
I mean, the only thing I could think of would be as if they pulled the trigger on a Nature's trade before the draft and we get some really high first round.
Would you do that? Like, would you be okay with trading Natchez for a top 5 draft pick?
Maybe this year. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Depends.
No, I don't.
I'd have to see the full return. Maybe
Yeah,
if there was
that's true.
more. I don't know if there'd be more or not. There should be. But if you get a mid first round and, a player of some sort, maybe. I don't know. I could see that playing out.
I don't know. I just don't know. I know who the number 1 guy is going to be, and everybody knows who the number 1 guy is going to be.
Yeah.
He's already.
Yeah.
He's already in the building, man. It's like he's already in San Jose. It's
I don't know. I could see something like, Natchez and a high end guy, I don't know if it was Allmark and or if it was Saros and then a pick in that draft, not saying in the first round, but something similar to be exchanged in there. Because if I'll reminisce on something. Jordan Stahl was traded to Carolina during the draft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So maybe we get somebody who will stay here for a while and is like Jordan Stahl, but I just want a nice return back. I don't want to roll the dice on a first round pick.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't think they'll go for futures in the Natchez trade. I think it's going to be a player that they can deploy immediately. So, but before we wrap up here, I'm going to announce the second half of the ticket giveaway, right? So we already announced the first one. If you were here, you got that. The second is you must send us a DM on X, and I want you to let us know what your favorite portion of the live stream was tonight. Just tell us, what portion you enjoyed us talking about, or a point that we made, maybe even something you disagree with, whatever it is. Send us a DM. Let us know what that is. And that will be, as long as you took care of part 1 that we talked about earlier, if you do that, that will be good for an entry into our ticket giveaway for your game of choice next season. Literally, your game of choice. All right.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, guys.
Can I enter?
Huh?
Say, can I enter?
You can't enter. You got tickets anyway.
That's right.
But yeah, guys, this was a successful first live stream. Sam, we appreciate you joining us. Brandon from the Warning Take, appreciate you joining us. And then Adam Gold, thanks for joining us and providing your insight to the team. Again, subscribe, hit that YouTube button, subscribe on YouTube, take care of that. We're going to start doing a lot more of these live streams. Pops wants to know, am I eligible? Pops, I bring you to the games all the time anyway. You know, come on, man.
You got to take that off with Griff, not me.
So, yeah. All right, AB, I'm done. Take us out, buddy.
Thank you so much for
Listening and watching session 45, our first live stream of Caniac Sessions. If you haven't already, like this video on YouTube, subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you don't miss out on anything that we post on YouTube. Comment, and you can follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook at Caniac Sessions. If you want to keep up with Griff, you can follow him on his personal at M_Griff10 and me on X, AB Caniac Session. Thank you so much for watching and listening to session 5, and we will see you in session 46.
That's right. Bye.